What's up guys, welcome back to my channel Anime Fiction. I'm back with a new episode on What If Naruto Was the Emperor of DC Universe Part 12. And if you did enjoy the video, this is today a like, and if you're new to my channel and like my content, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more crossover fictions with the twist. Now let's begin this new video.
35th Chapter. The Justice League greeted Naruto outside the house. After a month, they had finally found him. Green Lantern and Zatanna have sealed off the area. Wonder Woman, Superman, Ultra Woman, The Flash, the Martian Manhunter, Hawkgirl, the Red Tornado, and Black Lightning have assembled to apprehend him. While the other members were elsewhere, and Swamp Thing did not want to fight Naruto because the Green Parliament backed him.
Naruto, on the other hand, seemed unconcerned, and July went casually outdoors into the garden. I expected you guys to figure it out sooner, but you disappointed me. I didn't think your teamwork was so atrocious, my little friends, Naruto said as he sat on a wooden throne and chastised their efficacy. Naruto was well aware that locating him would be almost difficult, but it was conceivable. The Justice League could never find him on their own. They needed to pool their resources. After a month of experimenting and studying Naruto's energy, which Batman had acquired from Gordon, they discovered a solution. To find him, they combined the talents of Martian Manhunter, Superman, and Zatanna. Superman helped with his supervision, helped with his mind reading, and Zatanna helped with her energy senses. They were able to find Naruto by comparing data from all skills since they had all three talents in one spot. Otherwise, Superman would be unable to see him, and Zatanna would be unable to cover the globe or remove him from it. Because of the magical boundaries, even was unable to locate his thoughts. The strategy came about due to Batman's rapid thinking, but Naruto was correct regarding their teamwork since the squad had seldom merged their strengths in such a way. It is a testament to your ability to hide, Emperor. We were beginning to think you were the Emperor of Rats with how deep you hide, Zatanna said calmly, having been irritated by the man's statements. Ha ha ha. Thank you for the kind words, and I try to excel at everything, so it was expected. Regardless, you could have waited patiently and I would have visited soon. What's the rush? Did you decide to join? Naruto laughed as he stood up and began walking as if he were speaking to his followers. Emperor, please surrender before this goes any further. We believe you are a kind person, but you have already started walking down the wrong path.
It is extremely clear that you abhor every being that has committed a major crime.
You don't consider them worthy of a life or a second chance.
Your torture and rampant killing will only continue. You are leading humanity on a war path. We can never allow such a thing. He cared for Naruto and didn't want him to go down such a bad road. It was unavoidable that Naruto would lose his cool and murder when questioned. He had previously pledged to execute everyone without mercy once he became dictator. With that criterion in place, it was easy to anticipate how many people would perish, since millions may perish in a single incident.
I am disappointed in your cowardice. Why can you never think beyond the next enemy's fistfight? Why do you seem to care more for the criminal than the innocent citizens of the world? Your belief that I might step out of line just shows that you have no confidence in your abilities to keep me in check. The fact that you believe anyone would need a second chance after the conquest is extremely disrespectful to me. I expected more from you people, but you were blinded by the death of some worthless maggots. I am not taking the world on a warpath, as we are already on that path. Your defensive strategy has only one end, destruction. Naruto spoke to them in a cold tone for the first time, which really hit them hard. His aura was fooling them and making them want to surrender.
Naruto moved as he talked, displaying the outcomes that they were not paying attention to. He also gave them statistics on impending dangers and how the world only had a few years to live. The chances of survival from such disasters were minuscule. You can't decide for the entire world. Stop. I can decide for the world. Zatanna, tell your friends what the world thinks. I can tell you that 90% of the world is ready for my ascension to the throne and they are happy with my decisions. My little friends, I won't ascend until I have the majority votes. I will have the world vote to decide whether I rule or I do not. And, you can count the votes when it happens. I don't really have an issue with your executions, just the torture, but that's not the main issue. I want to know what you plan for the Green Lantern Corps. You do realize that if you start conquering the universe, you'll start a war with them. I like your goal and charisma, but going against the Green Lanterns is extremely dangerous. What are we doing now? Think about that for a moment. You mean to negotiate with the Lanterns? Superman said, realizing what Naruto was saying. He had always been courteous with everyone, so he wasn't going to attack individuals at random. Yes, I will talk to them, and I believe we can reach an easy understanding. They want some order in this chaotic universe, and I want to rule it properly. Our goals are aligned, and none of them have an issue with my type of rule. Tell me, what kind of assurance do you need to avoid this pointless conflict? Naruto paused near the small pond with the fishes and sat down to put his hand inside the water. Most of the members were eager to listen to him because of his remarks and honesty. Only the kill count continued to rear its ugly head.
Will you allow me to confirm everything with my lasso of truth? Wonder Woman said, stepping forward to provide a solution to their problem. She had seen events during the previous month and, unlike the others, she was pleased by the improvement. Naruto had done the right thing and was on the right track. She couldn't refute her companion's reservations about allowing such a strong entity to reign over them. Use it, and confirm my words, Naruto said as he grabbed hold of the lasso. The crew questioned him again and established the truth with him. It reassured them of his present condition. However, the future remained a concern. Naruto, they believed, was becoming too strong and was already beyond them. If he changed in a decade or two, none of them would be able to compete with him. So stopping him was a pipe dream at the time. It was a tough issue, and the JL chose to postpone their decision. The team's views were mixed, therefore they needed to talk more about it because they all agreed that the present version wasn't an issue. The main issue had been the killing, therefore Naruto persuaded them to look at it differently. Naruto was evaluating individuals as a global ruler, not as a vigilante. He was the people's choice for emperor. That remark would not have worked a month ago, but it now does since they all witnessed the outcomes and how the public responded. The public wanted Naruto to succeed. Once a republic has been corrupted, there is no way to cure any of the growing evils except by removing the corruption and restoring its lost principles. Every other correction is either useless or creates a new evil. Whatever you do to cope with one of man's shortcomings causes another issue, but you strive to obtain the greatest trade-off you can get, and that's all you can hope for. Naruto left them with those words and vanished as the barrier was deactivated with his skills. Flash also knew Naruto had the Speed Force and was using it on a larger basis. That reality strengthened his status as superior and made them fearful of the day when he would lose power. Nonetheless, the discussion ended on a favorable tone, and the team thought Naruto was worthy of their confidence. They just wanted to use the time machine to see into the future.
While the JL debated the matter, Naruto resumed his recruiting efforts once his true body had done fooling about with Conan. He chose to go to Themyscira to recruit the Amazons and Hercules. He anticipated opposition due to the nature of the objectives and Hercules' power, which may equal his own.
The Themyscira, also known as Paradise Island, is the Amazons' second home, named after their previous residence in what is now modern-day Turkey. The island's position and appearance have changed multiple times throughout the years.
The immortal Amazons were formed over 3,000 years ago to teach the males of Patriarch's world the virtues of morality, love, and equality, and they built the city-state of Themyscira in ancient Greece in modern Turkey.
Ares, the immortal of war and the Amazons' main foe, lured his half-brother Heracles into gathering troops and attacking the Themyscira, where Heracles seduced and devastated the Amazon queen Hippolyta. His armies were successful in capturing the Themyscira and enslaving the Amazons.
The Amazons liberated themselves by strength and cunning, slaying the majority of their captives.
Soon later, Antiope led an army of Amazons into Greece to exact revenge on Heracles. Hippolyta escorted the surviving Amazons to a desolate island, where they were entrusted with guarding Doom's doorway as punishment for their failings as instructors, as determined by the immortals. They called the island the Themyscira after their destroyed city and established new lives, creating structures and monuments and honing their crafts and fighting abilities. For generations, the Amazons lived in what they saw to be perfect harmony with their environment. The Nereids would sometimes transport young newborns to the Themyscira's beaches who would have perished otherwise in mishaps.
These infants would wash up on the shores of Paradise Island and be spiritually tutored in Amazonian ideals, a process known colloquially as sending forth, in which one of the tribeswomen acts as a surrogate mother-teacher figure to the young, teaching them their ways to protect the world when necessary. The Amazons had been bestowed the fountain of youth and strength by the immortals, allowing them to live forever and continue their job.
But not everything was as it seemed. The Amazons did not just adopt children. They seduced and raped men in order to create their own. The raped males were frequently killed after the crime. As if that weren't horrible enough, the Amazons drowned or buried the male children alive.
It was a terrible secret Wonder Woman had not learned from her mother, and it was something the Amazons had just lately ceased doing. It had only ended a few decades before the present date due to Hephaestus, the Forge's immortal. The father had been assisting the ladies and recognized what they were doing, so he decided to make the male youngsters his Forge helpers. Queen Hippolyta governed the Amazons. Hippolyta's history dates back tens of thousands of years. In ancient times, a caveman, enraged by being injured by a tiger and expelled from his clan, saw a lady in a cave and savagely slaughtered her when she showed him compassion, the first woman slain by a man's anger.
Thousands of years later, the female immortals gathered an assembly of the Greek pantheon circa 1300 BC. They intended to breed individuals who would advocate their values. Zeus, in his hubris, declared that humanity would never forget the immortals, regardless of whether or not champions existed. Ares did not want anybody to promote peace. Hera did not want to go against her husband, and the other male immortals did not appear interested. As a result, it fell to the other 5 main Greek female immortals. The immortals traveled into the underworld and arrived at the Well of Souls, where the souls of all the women slaughtered by man's hate were assembled. They dragged these souls out, dumping them like giant tears into a lake in Greece, all save one, a very rare soul. The spirits merged with the lake bed's clay and stone to produce the Amazons, reborn women. Hippolyta was the first to emerge from the sea, followed by her sister, Antiope. The immortals revealed themselves to the Amazons, appointing Hippolyta and Antiope as their queens. They ordered the Amazons to propagate the message of Gaia, which was one of peace, tolerance, and equality. Hippolyta and Antiope were each given a golden girdle as a token of their loyalty. For years, Hippolyta and Antiope commanded the Amazons, building a magnificent metropolis named the Mysteria. Their attempts to propagate peace and equality were thwarted since few men trusted them, particularly when Ares continued to stir up turmoil. They were more secluded in their city as the years passed. Their numbers grew when women were liberated from slavery. Doom would arrive in the person of Heracles, the son of Zeus. Heracles and his comrade Theseus arrived to the Amazons in the middle of his 12 labors, still suffering from Hera's madness. One of Heracles' labors was to rescue Hippolyta's girdle. When Heracles arrived in the Amazon city with an army behind him, he demanded that Hippolyta give the girdle. Hippolyta refused, storming out of town and promising to fight Heracles in exchange. The Amazon queen beat Heracles, and the humiliated Demi offered peace and an alliance with the Amazons. The Amazons allowed Heracles and his soldiers enter the city, and the night was filled with merriment. Antiope fell hopelessly in love with Theseus, while Hippolyta fell hard, much too strongly, for Heracles. In his insanity, Heracles drugged Hippolyta and raped and assaulted her while she slept, and when she awakened, she was bound. Heracles' troops chained, raped, and destroyed the Amazon city while plundering its wealth. Heracles departed the city with Hippolyta's girdle and a few of his warriors, leaving the bulk to protect the Amazons. Theseus was also gone, but it's unclear whether he took part in the raping and pillaging or departed earlier. Hippolyta escaped her cage when a vision of one of the immortals gave her the power she needed to release her sisters. As additional Amazons were liberated, a running fight erupted across the city. Hippolyta stood by and watched as several of her sisters succumbed to bloodlust, reveling in the horrific killing of men. They battled until all of the guys died. After that, Antiope was still outraged, and she insisted on marching towards Athens, murdering everyone in their way, until they reached Athens and reclaimed the girdle from Heracles' lifeless hand. But Hippolyta answered nay, that such a road of murderous vengeance was not the Amazon way, and that going down that route would only lead to ruin. Antiope could not be deviated. Feeling deceived not only by her beloved, but also by her gods, she threw her girdle at Hippolyta's feet, proclaiming that she would no again ask anything of Olympus. Half of the Amazons followed her, while the other half remained with Hippolyta. it was the last time the sisters saw each other. The immortals reappeared in the middle of the wreckage. They were angry with the Amazons, stating that they had failed in their holy duty, and that the term, Amazon, would henceforth be linked with murder and devastation, rather than peace and equality. Penance is required for the Amazons. They were each given a pair of steel bracelets to wear at all times as a constant reminder of their kidnapping and humiliation. After purifying their bodies and spirits, they embarked on their quest. Poseidon separated the water, and the Amazons went along the bottom until they reached Paradise Island, which the immortals had taken from the world's rings. They established the new city-state of the Mystera and were tasked with protecting the island from a deadly evil. They would be immortal as long as they stayed on the island, but they may be killed, and some were throughout the many long years and battles they had to fight against the evil that would attempt to leave. They stayed here for approximately 3,000 years, with Hippolyta as their queen the whole period. Diana, commonly known as Wonder Woman, was Hippolyta's daughter. Diana had no idea that she had been brought to life by giving a soul to a stone sculpture. She was the true daughter of Zeus and Hippolyta, making her a demi endowed with tremendous power. Diana's talents were sealed by the bracelets she wore, although she was ignorant of this.
In addition to Diana, there was Donna Troy. The sorceress Megala utilized a magical mirror to construct a replica of Diana, but with her own personality, to be a playmate for the young Wonder Woman. She was stolen by Dark Angel, who mistook her for Diana and cursed her to a cycle of many terrible lives, giving her the name Donna Troy as a cruel joke on her origins. Years later, she would discover this thanks to the intervention of Wonder Woman, Hippolyta, and the Flash. Donna was orphaned by her original mother, Dorothy Hinckley, a dying unwed adolescent who had given her up for adoption, in one of the lives she ended up living. Donna's adoptive father, Carl Stacy, was killed in a work-related accident, thus her adoptive mother, Faye Stacy, put her up for adoption once again, unable to sustain the toddler due to growing expenditures. Donna remembers being rescued from a fire by the Titan Rhea, who took her to New Cronus and reared her as one of 12 Titan seeds, orphans from other worlds who would have perished if Rhea had not spared them. Each was given the name of a site where the Titans were venerated, and Donna was given the surname Troy in honor of the ancient metropolis. At the age of 13, she was transported to Earth, where her memories of New Cronus were wiped until the time came for her to return and take her position among the seeds as a Titan.
Donna assumed the moniker of Wonder Girl after experiencing extraordinary powers and talents. Donna became a founding member of the Teen Titans, even proposing the name from a repressed memory. She married Terry Long, a college professor, and got pregnant shortly after. This prompted the Teen Titans organization from the future to approach her, warning that her son, Lord Chaos, would endanger the future. To avoid this, Donna willingly gave up her abilities. She subsequently asked that her abilities be restored, but she was rejected. She joined the Teen Titans as a Dark Star after being initiated into the Dark Stars. Terry eventually divorced Donna, claiming that her superhero job endangered the family, and obtained exclusive custody of their kid. She sought solace with colleague Kyle Rayner, but abandoned him when Terry, Robert, and Jenny Long, Terry's daughter from his previous marriage, were murdered in a devastating vehicle accident. Donna fled the human world and stayed on the island after that event, which occurred only 2 years before Naruto's arrival. Diana had taken her to the Mystera for healing since Donna had been slipping, and it was just a matter of time before she took her own life. Even after all those years, Donna hadn't entirely recovered from her wounds and blamed herself for her family's murder. She had been irresponsible and immature. She could have simply provided them with security, but she never considered it until it was too late. Following Donna, there was another incredibly influential individual on the island. Jason was Diana's twin brother. He, like the other guys, could not be admitted to Paradise Island. It was a rule that no one could break, so Hippolyta handed him over to a trustworthy man. Jason wound himself in Hercules' clutches and was taught by him before the two returned to the island. They, like Hephaestus, lived on the edges of the island. Diana had learned about him and had left the hero business as a result. In contrast to the others, Naruto was certain that these people would not accept his reign via words since he wanted to punish them for their criminal history. That wasn't the only reason. They wouldn't follow him since he was a man, and they were all dedicated to other female immortals in addition to Gia. At this time, Naruto had no support from the other immortals, but it was evident that they would step in shortly. Despite this, he was unconcerned and eager for a battle. As emperor, he had to maintain his image and behave calmly. Throwing fists was a major image breaker that would undermine his legitimacy. To return to the problem, it had been many hours after his encounter with the Justice League, and Naruto had personally visited the island. He couldn't send a clone to battle Hercules or meet Hephaestus. Naruto wasn't alone this time, and he had some backup. Supergirl, Alessa, and Spirit King, Centurion, were with him to provide assistance and protect the weaker opponents. Centurion's new name following his metamorphosis was Spirit King, and he also acquired a new look. He had not taken part in the previous fight since his meditation had not been completed. Before Dr. Mist entered, he was fight and power-wise superior to the other members. Alessa was the Silent Hill girl Naruto persuaded to accompany him to the island. She couldn't hide from him since Naruto was able to replicate her abilities and invade her pocket universe. Naruto repaired Alessa's emotional and physical wounds by speaking directly to her. A demonic sect had imprisoned her to the city and divided her soul in half. Naruto grabbed her good side and combined it with her wicked side, reuniting her. She'd been alive for decades but hadn't aged physically or intellectually. Alessa was around 12 or 13 years old when she met him and chose to follow him. She hadn't met anybody in years, and her previous encounter had been a disaster. Naruto was quite nice, and his happy feelings won her heart. Her good side had a wonderful mother, but she was mortal, and Alessa didn't want to put her in danger right now, so she resolved to keep the world calm for her sake. It wasn't an immediate relationship, but Alessa chose to follow him, and Naruto treated her as if she were a little sister. After recuperating and Naruto's assistance, her abilities had improved by a rank, making her the strongest member of the gang. The four people drifted over the island and flew down, with Naruto leading the way. There was a spatial barrier in their path, but they simply got past it since Naruto saw through its construction and demolished it. As they arrived on the shore, it seemed as though the air cracked like glass and showered down on them. It set off sirens all around the island. You are truly dramatic with your entrances. Do you ever get tired of acting supreme? Kara grinned as she observed Emperor's moves and recognized that Emperor always made a spectacular entrance. His every gesture was deliberate and dramatic. I love making a strong impression, Naruto said, indicating the Amazons gathering on the beach who nearly dropped their swords at their presence. The barrier was magnificent, a gift from the immortals, yet it had been shattered with little opposition. Seeing such a scenario threw a great darkness on their spirits. The barrier was powerful enough to keep most intruders out, but Naruto's vision enabled him to challenge it without overwhelming it. Kara could understand the advantages of creating such entries, since it seemed to help her avoid battles.
To escape the JL's notice and meddling, Naruto launched a wave of energy to alert the people of his existence while teleporting the island to Jupiter. The teleportation went off without a hitch without the barrier, and the islanders witnessed their reality transform.
The Queen, together with Donna Troy and her entourage, arrived just as the operation concluded, which took less than a minute.
Hippolyta was concerned and angered as she looked up towards the sky, saying, "Identify yourself and present your reason for such an act of war."
Her voice was full with grandeur and authority, which was heightened by her lovely and noble appearance. She resembled Diana and Donna in looks, with long black hair and silver eyes.
"Supergirl, what are you doing here?" Donna said, surprised to find Kara with Emperor. She wasn't in the outer world, but Diana kept her updated, and she could even interact with her sister telepathically. Supergirl remained silent, allowing Naruto to take the lead while nodding to Donna. "I am the Emperor of Mankind, Queen Hippolyta, and I am here to free you from your cage and allow you to live in the vast world outside. I intend to expand the region covered by humanity, and for that purpose, your girls can play a strong role alongside the other chosen fighters of the new era. I have the guidance of Gia in my decisions, so approach the subject carefully," Naruto replied as he walked closer to Hippolyta, towering over her. The Queen, like Donna, was aware of what was going on in the outside world. She only wanted to make sure it was the right guy, and she hadn't anticipated him to show up on her island. "We deeply respect Mistress Gia, but we will decline your offer. We have not received any command from our masters. Return us to our region, and we will forget about this act of war," Hippolyta said, allowing herself to be compassionate because of Gia.
This was not an option. I command you to submit and repay your countless sins.
The deaths and sexual assaults of countless innocent lives are on your hands. You cannot simply walk away without a punishment. What you did in the past was nothing compared to what you continued to do after arriving on this island. You are vile creatures who never stood for justice and peace, except in your deluded minds. Submit and accept your punishment, before it becomes worse. He didn't see them as planet guards, but rather as criminal filth in need of punishment.
Supergirl and Donna were horrified and outraged when they saw the screens flash up and display their illicit deeds. They had never imagined the Amazons would undertake such a thing. Naruto pulled Hippolyta back with his size, forcing the other females to move to the side. They were frightened that an outsider knew their secrets and were terrified by his tone.
Hippolyta, on the other hand, was outraged that the outsider revealed their terrible actions. She had stopped it and didn't want her daughters to know. It was hard to see Donna's contempt, and she knew Diana would find out about it shortly. You dare to mock us, Amazons? Deal with the intruders, Hippolyta said as she was going to strike Naruto but was slammed into the ground. Naruto's palm covered her face and head as he slammed her against the ground with great force. It would have shattered the island, but Naruto had improved it with his abilities, so there wasn't even a dent, and Hippolyta endured so much damage that her head was shaken.
It would be better if you called off the girls before they get hurt, Hippolyta. Your resistance is futile, and your masters have abandoned you long ago. Naruto lifted her up by the head and looked her in the eyes as she attempted to recover her bearings.
A monster of a guy arrived on the beach before she could answer or Donna could fight. Tisk tisk, the great emperor bullying some weak women. Why don't you drop the woman and meet someone your size? The tone was full of superiority, arrogance, and pleasure. It was the voice of Hercules, the son of Zeus. He was a creature that had lived for thousands of years and had faced several challenges. Because of Hera and his own father's influence, his life had been a tragedy.
It resulted in the death of his family at his hands, which drove him insane. Along the way, he had murdered and betrayed numerous friends, only to be honored with the title of Immortal of Strength atop Mount Olympus. He symbolized power, but he was not the notion itself. Shazam inherited his superpowers from Hercules, therefore it was clear how strong the guy was.
He was physically capable of defeating the League, making him a viable adversary for the present Naruto. Look at you, the mighty queen getting saved by her rapist. What a grand achievement. Now, before you are forced to submit, speak carefully. Do you really want it to go this way, and not my way? Naruto looked at Hercules with disgust and disdain before returning to his victim of domestic violence.
Hippolyta returned his stare and turned to face Hercules. She had once loved and then despised him for his atrocities against her people. She still despised the guy with all her heart, but she couldn't do anything about it. She had to make a deal with him and allow him to reside near the region since the immortals had ordered it. Hercules, for his part, did not seem furious or offended. He stood nonchalantly beside Jason.
Jason was her son, but he didn't love or care for her since she had abandoned him and never returned to check on his well-being. He was envious of his sister's existence since he had been a fisherman for much of his life and had just recently become wealthy because to Hercules. We will not submit, no matter what you do. What a loyal subject, but unfortunately the loyalty won't save you today. Everyone here will feel the weight of their sins, and everyone will submit to the Emperor's rule. Jason, will you step outside or will you interfere? Naruto looked to the sole innocent person there beside Donna. Jason was taken aback by the question and turned to face Hercules. He wanted to demonstrate that he was not a coward, but rather a powerful and fearless combatant. I shall not back down against any enemy, Jason said, demonstrating his determination to follow and help Hercules, knowing that his master was determined to battle. What about you, Miss Donna? Will you fight for these criminals or will you stand back and let me show them the consequences of their arrogance? Before you answer, please consider what they have done to others, not what they have done for you. Even the vilest creatures can be loving friends or family members. Those good deeds don't discount their sins. I hope you will sit down and wait for the end of this fight because I want to talk to you. After learning about you, I want to help you overcome your problems and live a happy life. I can't allow selfless people to live such depressing lives because it is heresy. It can't exist because it is the end of evil, not the light, and I will not stand for it.
Allow yourself to be happy. It was not your fault, and everyone makes errors. They have forgiven you and wish you a happy life. Naruto released go of Hippolyta and headed towards Donna, who was standing nearby with her sword. His words and attitude, particularly his final words, rocked her heart. She wanted to hit him for bringing up those memories, but she saw their spirits behind him. They agreed with him, and she was showered with Naruto's love. Her drive to fight and her inner darkness appeared to be destroyed by the tremendous pleasant feelings.
Donna had the option of meeting the spirits but was afraid to confirm her worries. But seeing them here and now helped me get over my phobia. Her inner darkness faded, and terrible memories were conquered rather than suppressed. She could have always made some adjustments in her life to prevent such an ending, but there was so much going on at the time, and she was young. It has nothing to do with her. Even her spouse hadn't mentioned anything, and none of the others had either. Nobody considered accidents, and it wasn't until her family died that the other heroes recognized they couldn't be everywhere at the same time. Nonetheless, Donna refused to back down. She saw her mother and didn't want to leave her to an outsider, even if she was a member of the Wicked. It had been decades, and she had changed.
Thank you for your assistance, but I will not give up on my mother. Please leave them in peace, Donna said, not being ungrateful.
I see. We'll settle this with violence, Naruto said as he took a step back and shook his head before the participants felt a shove and passed through a portal. Naruto had no intention of destroying the island or the planet. With weak persons, he could keep the harm in control, but with someone like Hercules, he couldn't afford to take chances.
Alessa, take good care of them and make sure they understand morality, Naruto said to his younger sister, giving her the order to look after the Amazons and their queen. Her abilities turned her into a genuine nightmare, which had been exacerbated by Naruto's understanding. Naruto also increased his fear-mongering abilities thanks to Alessa's expertise, thus his evil capabilities were on a whole new level after learning from her.
Yes, Mr. Emperor, Alessa said as she passed through the portal, deciding to punish the ladies for their actions. She despised people like the Amazons for their obvious lack of morality and indifferent attitude toward outsiders. Her adversaries were others like them, individuals who felt they were better and that everything they did was correct. That is one scary girl. Are you sure you want to leave her with them? Kara said as she watched Alessa walk away with a wicked smirk. She's a cute little girl, Kara, don't worry about them. They'll have it worse once the battle is over. Your tone can get really scary, are you okay? Kara said, concerned about Naruto's mental health since she hadn't seen him talk to criminals before. Ha ha ha, thank you for your kind intentions, and there is no problem. I have a different way of talking to people. I like good people and despise criminals, which is reflected in my tone and mannerisms. It'll take some getting used to that. It really made you look evil, especially with all the women crying, Kara said, realizing that none of the others had mentioned Naruto. His strategy was centered on diplomacy and non-aggression. Furthermore, his strategy included the potential harm from the combat. Spreading fear always makes you appear evil, but this is limited to my enemies. Will you look after Donna? I will talk to her. Kara hated the prospect of battling someone she knew, but it was unavoidable. It was preferable for her to go or Donna would suffer even more misery. She went through a portal without pausing, and Spirit King flew through a portal leading to Jason. Are you done? Hercules said as he stood there watching the antics.
I'm done. Let's go to our battlefield, Naruto said as he stepped through a portal, Hercules following him silently. Because of his tone and mannerism, the guy did not believe Naruto would send him far away. He could also return to the island in an instant.
Alessa entered the portal and found herself on a strange planet that was freezing on one side and flaming on the other. It was a planet distant beyond Earth's solar system, and it was a once-in-a-lifetime adventure for all of them since none of them had ever left Earth. Alessa was fascinated by the change of landscape and thanked Naruto for teaching her something new. She would, however, want a better location the following time. She disliked flames because they reminded her of unpleasant times, when the cultists attempted to burn her alive. Nonetheless, the change in battlefield had little effect on her and she was unconcerned about it. Her adversaries were pitiful animals who had been in hiding for far too long and had allowed themselves to become worthless in the sight of their masters.
Normally, she would not have approached these abominations. Her new mission in life, however, dictated that these animals adapt for the better or perish. It was true that avoiding murdering was difficult and killing was simple. Alessa was perplexed as to how the Mister kept himself from wiping everything. It was obvious to her that he despised evil with all his heart.
Perhaps that's what adulthood means. Is it a leadership quality? Perhaps both. Alessa mused as she watched her opponents get their bearings.
Child, do you know where we are? Hippolyta said gently, since she didn't believe the tiny girl posed much a danger. Even with that idea, she wasn't reckless.
I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. None of you are leaving until Mr. Emperor calls, Alessa said calmly, but her words were anything from kind. Child, is that man forcing you to submit? Hippolyta inquired, knowing that Naruto had demanded obedience from them and that it wasn't out of the question that he had done the same to the small girl. Old hag, stop asking meaningless questions. Mr. Emperor may be harsh, but he is a million times better than you. Your kind disgusts me, and I would have killed you if it hadn't been for his command. Alessa couldn't endure her presence, and the reality around them began to alter.
Hippolyta saw the environment shifting as if paint were being scraped off the walls, and they were all transported to Silent Hill. It was Alessa's nightmare world that shaped her small hamlet, and in that world her slaves were preparing for battle.
After the struggle with the Spirit King, the Yellow King sat on his throne in all his splendor, with Pyramid Head appearing particularly frightening. They weren't the only ones there. And monstrosity of evil assumed the form of a man without a face, based on the worst fears of the women present. As it represented the greatest dread of the Amazons, it was incredibly repulsive and filthy, thus Alessa transformed it into something of her desire. It was something she had learned from Naruto, since she, too, couldn't abide certain forms.
Looking around at the transformed environment, the ladies had no choice but to hunt down the witch. Looking at the gloomy guy, though, made them lose hope, and despair overtook their hearts as the dark past appeared to play in their eyes.
Enough, child, stop this tomfoolery. Hippolyta pounded the earth with the butt of her spear, producing a golden halo that calmed her daughters. We will talk when you qualify for such a thing. How about you defeat your greatest fear, hag? Look at that man, he represents all your fears. I will make it fair and let him fight alone. Aren't I a good girl? Alessa smiled as she sat on the Yellow King's shoulder to watch the slaughter. The nightmare realm weakened and drained the souls of all outsiders. It preyed on their anxieties and exposed them. It was the last place anybody wanted to go, yet it was the greatest spot for Alice's abilities to show. She didn't even need to use direct magic in the realm since the nightmares took care of everything.
Hippolyta determined that because they were dealing with a witch, they had no choice but to fight and win. Amazons, fight until the end, show no fear, and we will overcome all obstacles. Will you let some man prevent you from completing your tasks? No, said the ladies, their spirits boosted. Alessa watched the entertaining spectacle, despite the fact that she could have prevented them from getting back on their feet. It was more fascinating to see them collapse once their hopes had been dashed. Hippolyta seized command of her daughters, and they focused their attention on the dark guy, who was composed of darkness and wearing a black costume. They could see a gory smirk on his face, which made most of them tremble.
On the battlefield, there were around 1,000 Amazons, including the queen, pitted against one nightmare. The ladies gained confidence with the queen and the numbers on their side.
Hippolyta directed the women to act as archers, shield carriers, whip users, and spear bearers.
All of these ladies were powerful enough to compete against Pain on pure stats, and their weapons made them much stronger since they were granted by Hephaestus. Queen Hippolyta, on the other hand, was a formidable fighter who could compete with her daughter. Arrows shot from the bows at breakneck speeds and landed on the target in response to a command. These arrows were charmed in such a way that not even ghosts could evade them. Their target, on the other hand, did not dodge anything. He smiled as he approached them and began to lose form, becoming a wave of darkness that expanded in size as he came near.
Women, women, you are all mine, the awful voice of the darkness said, and their spirits trembled. Hippolyta swung her golden spear and created a surge of golden energy that halted the relentless tsunami.
Do not waver, for darkness shall never triumph over light. Hippolyta felt the strain as well, but as the leader, she couldn't show weakness and had to encourage her people.
The others resumed their assault as a result of her statements.
The wave, however, came to a halt and flowed around them. It grew into a massive hurricane, with them at its epicenter. They could hear sinister laughter and groups of jeering males demanding their bodies all around them. It was embarrassing, it was terrible, and it brought up memories from their past.
Womankind was no sooner created than her mind was set on mischief, for by her ambitious mind and wanton will she quickly procured man's fall, and thus ever since they have been a woe unto man, and follow the line of their first leader.
They are like pumice stones because their hearts were filled with holes, he wrote, or painted ships because they looked pretty but contained only lead. Hey, sexy thing, how about you get down there and lick my feet? Hey, why don't you strip down and show us some of that good stuff?
Strip them down to their normal clothes, they look extremely delicious without that armor.
The queen is stunning. Woman, please go into the kitchen and make me a sandwich. Sandwich. These women don't know how to do anything but fight. Even food, worthless as always, has to be provided for them.
Disgusting whores. Why don't you just kill yourselves already?
The darkness seemed to be an insurmountable adversary since their assaults had no effect on it while their minds were being permeated by despair. Even with their combined efforts, they were unable to penetrate the black tornado. The ladies observed it move with despair on their faces. It soon engulfed the area under them, and everything was enveloped in darkness. Nothing was visible to them. They couldn't feel anything, not even the beat of their own heart.
The pitch-dark world terrified them and drove them further into despair. They sought to touch their friends for spiritual power in the foreign realm, but all they got was a liquid. They were taken aback when they saw their pals impaled by the darkness, yet still alive and breathing.
The blackness progressively ripped through the flesh, tearing it apart and creating excruciating agony. They could only hear the screaming and were unable to intervene.
They saw their pals being tortured and begged for compassion, begging their buddies to assist them.
Each bone was broken one by the darkness. It extracted each tooth one by one. It progressively destroyed the body, leaving a shell of a corpse with evil tentacles commanding it, mocking the Amazon women for their failings. Seeing such a situation shattered their hearts, and they sobbed. They couldn't move, and they couldn't get out. There was no one who could help them. Their masters had deserted them.
Everything fell black with a last scream, and only the queen remained on the battlefield.
Every second, Hippolyta saw her people being consumed by the darkness, and the anxiety mounted.
She continued to strike the ethereal foe, but it didn't appear to care.
You are a weak woman. You should have known your place and bowed to your new master, the darkness mocked, as Hippolyta witnessed her surviving followers beg forgiveness before being consumed like the others, leaving her alone. She'd only been fighting for a few minutes when she was left alone. The war seemed to be ended, but Hippolyta refused to surrender. She refused to yield to anybody. She couldn't let such a thing defeat her here.
And she knew that was an accurate portrayal of their terror. The small girl wasn't mocking them. She was giving them the truth.
It was her inability to see the genuine nature of the situation before it was too late. But did her knowledge of nature provide her a chance? All she could do was hope. Hippolyta focused her attention, suppressing the terror that had been stirred by the foe's techniques. She pushed against the panicked soul, attempting to calm and cleanse it. Mistress Athena, give me strength, Hippolyta said with audacity, ready to face the opponent and fortify her soul.
Hippolyta identified vulnerability in the opponent and pushed back with knowledge of the enemy, particularly with the assistance of Athena's might.
She lessened the darkness with each hit, forcing him to become visible. When he saw Hippolyta was murdering his ethereal body, the darkness transformed into a humanoid and began battling her in close combat. You are weak. You are nothing but a figment of my imagination. I am better than the majority of men. I am better than all mortal men. You don't scare me. You can never defeat me. I am immortal. I am invincible to the world of men. I will live while you die. Hippolyta pushed back against the dark man, gradually defeating him in combat as her spirit rose. She had forgotten. Though, that they were not alone. Hippolyta was ready to win when she saw a blade piercing her heart. Whoopsie, my hand slipped. Alessa smiled as the power behind the sword pulled Hippolyta between buildings before another barbed wire snagged her limbs.
She struggled, but the darkness approached her and grinned before entering her body and resuming her nightmare. As she chose to take the black guy as her servant, Alessa clapped.
I wish Mother could have seen it, but she would be scared and hate me. I guess we can't always have similar tastes. I should probably keep it a secret, only Mr. Emperor can appreciate this game. Is that what it means to be an adult, I wonder? Alessa pondered as she looked over the women drowned in the darkness and undergoing their punishment.
Supergirl went through the vortex and landed on a world where molten iron was pouring. The location seemed to be a hellhole where nothing could possibly thrive. Nonetheless, it was a natural wonder.
Donna Troy was waiting for her on the Iron World. She didn't seem to be in the mood for polite talk as she tried to make her way back. When you were lost in the vastness of space, not having the ability to manipulate space was a major issue. Being stuck in the dark was a nightmare. Kara hoped that Alessa wasn't being too harsh on her pal. That girl was terrifying in her eyes, and her thoughts were awful. She couldn't believe such things could come from such a gorgeous child. Kara wanted her debilitated, but Naruto accomplished the reverse, allowing Alessa to draw into the planet's terror. Each of her followers received a significant boost since they now had the terror of everyone on the world. Kara could only hope for the best and faith in Naruto. Though it was perilous, it also demonstrated Naruto's willingness to empower others. With the new manner of doing things, there was even a chance that Alessa might surpass him in strength. Fear was universal, and anybody who could tap into it was to be dreaded. Kara, why are you siding with him? Donna saw her friend and decided to approach her since searching for Earth would be a foolish undertaking. We are good friends, and he has done a wonderful job fixing the world. He is a selfless guy who is willing to risk it all for the betterment of this world, so what is there to worry about? Kara replied, feeling awkward with the last part. How can you assure someone that their family will not be tortured? Even she couldn't stop worrying and would have retaliated. You don't look confident. Kara, let me out of here. I need to be with them. Donna was thankful to Naruto for helping her with her melancholy, but now her family was being attacked. She couldn't stand it.
Was it appropriate to assist them? Was it wrong to assist them? Donna felt divided since her family deserved the penalty morally, but her heart couldn't agree. Her heart told her that things had changed and that Naruto was not the judge for this crime since he lacked the necessary power. I can't help you with that. He won't compromise for anyone, not even family. I can't help you with that. He won't compromise for anyone, not even family. Donna, I know it's hard, but they need this punishment. It will help them learn from their mistakes, or they will continue such evil acts, Kara answered, her tone firm. Knowing that he did not make any compromises with his family aided his argument for being reasonable and fair.
Naruto had punished everyone in Konoha who had committed crimes, including Jiraiya and the third Hokage. It was something he needed to go through personally in order to eliminate any prejudice concerns in the future. Everyone agreed and let Naruto go through with it since they pushed him to. It was a traumatic experience for everyone concerned, but it ultimately made him a better person. It was an important part of the Emperor's history. I don't need someone else to teach them. I can do it without resorting to such evil. Please, don't force my hand, Kara. I don't think you can help them, Donna. It took Diana centuries to change most of their biased views, and even now they aren't so clear-minded. Why don't you just sit tight and wait for it to finish? Kara shook her head as she flew closer to Donna and rested her hand on her shoulder.
I'm sorry, but I can't do that. I'll fight you until you give in to my demand, Donna said as she pushed Kara back. It was an awkward situation for both of them, particularly Kara. This was her first disagreement with someone she thought of as a friend. Donna assisted her when she visited the Titans. She maintained touch with her buddy, allowing Kara to speak with Donna as well.
This is preferable. Someone else, or Alessa, may have done worse. It would have been preferable if Naruto had done it. He obviously did it on purpose, wanting me to learn from experience, Kara thought as she prepared to battle Donna. Naruto hadn't told her much about his past, but he had given her some hints and even his name.
Then I won't hold back either. You're on the wrong side, Donna, and you should stop before you get hurt. You should stop before you hurt yourself, Kara. You can't defeat me, Donna said sternly, brandishing her sword and shield while clad in silver and black armor.
I can defeat your sister. I doubt you can win, Kara remarked firmly, despite having lost to Diana the last time. She thought Diana was in a better position on that day 2 years ago since Kara was inexperienced.
Blind arrogance will only lead to defeat. Here I come. Donna slashed at Kara with her sword against the shield.
An absolute zero slash was discharged from the sword. Donna, who had been blessed by the titans of antiquity, had the power of ice and symbolized the moons of the cosmos. Her power had not yet completely awakened, yet even a little fraction of it was immensely powerful. Donna didn't just unleash one slash, but many, forming a net that obstructed Supergirl's range of view.
While the hot iron slammed into her body, Kara flew to the air, releasing a concentrated heat beam from her eyes to combat the ice strikes flying over Donna. Before Kara could burst past the net, she was smacked from behind by Donna's shield. Donna could teleport to any location illuminated by the moonlight, but she lacked the ability to locate the Earth's moon. The shield was comprised of a strong and hefty metal that almost tore Kara's Kryptonian armor. Hephaestus created Donna's equipment, making it preeminent in the mortal world. Kara shifted her beam to the side, allowing the shield to travel back to Donna. Would you like to concede? Donna inquired, without following up on the assault. That was a lucky shot based on my ignorance of your abilities. You should have continued because I will be fighting seriously now, Kara said, glaring at Donna and intending to shatter her. She didn't enjoy losing, and she didn't want to let her pal Naruto down.
Kara flew straight for Donna, stopping at the last second to deliver a simple blow. Her quick halt protected her from the blade and sent a jolt through Donna.
The power behind the punch changed the field dramatically, sending iron rain hurtling in the other direction and carving away kilometers of ground at the point of contact. It also sent Donna flying, but she teleported above Kara and sliced down with her blade, which, like her sister's weapon, could chop through atoms.
Kara deflected the blade with her armored arm and then kicked it away.
Donna deflected the kick and teleported away, while moonlight struck Kara from several angles. The laser beams struck with great power and even had a freezing effect. The unexpected onslaught drove Kara hurtling into the planet, carving a massive crater while Donna focused the light beams from the planet's 5 moons. Kara had more physical numbers, but Donna had the diverse talents to bridge the gap. If she hadn't employed the shield, the kick would have caused tiny fractures in her arm.
Regardless, it hurt a lot, and her response harmed Kara.
Kara deflected the beam with her arms and utilized her sun energy to create a force barrier with her armor. She was fueled by the golden sun near the planet, so it was only a matter of time until she triumphed. Donna, on the other hand, was determined to complete it before that occurred. Kara realized this and released a charged heat ray from her eyes, which burst through the moonlight and collided with another charged strike from Donna. Both strikes cancelled each other out, resulting in a huge explosion that almost killed the planet. It jolted Kara and depleted her energy supplies, whilst Donna was spared by the moon light barrier.
Donna surged up and soared towards Kara in the moonlight, taking a gamble. She was like a meteor crashing onto the Earth and straight hitting Kara with a strong shield smash.
The planet could no longer withstand the collision and was destroyed, as Donna and Kara plunged through the opposite side.
Kara was thrown to the ground by the blow, and her armor was destroyed. Kara seemed to be ready to go off again, when she came to a halt. Her body began to glow with golden light, bringing her out of her trance. "Wake up, little girl, if you don't want to admit defeat." The voice boomed within Kara's thoughts, and she watched the golden light form a miniature 9-tailed fox.
After being knocked in the head too hard, Kara felt as if she were dreaming. "Who exactly are you?" "I am Naruto's partner. He anticipated that you would have a problem with the foe, so I am here to support you," Kurama said with a grin, enjoying the concept of people relying on him. Being fantastic felt wonderful. "Can you stop her from teleporting?" "Of course. That's all I need," Kara said as her body mended and Kurama sent more sun energy into her body, replenishing her vitality and giving her a boost.
"You can even do that. Kara was taken aback by the increase in absorption rate. It was a pace that could only be attained by heading into the sun.
We control all of nature, girl. You're lucky to be following us, or a fight would have been extremely humiliating. Kurama responded confidently as he vanished into Kara. Naruto had sent Kara a little portion of Kurama and his energy.
Kara's eyes glowed with golden brilliance infused with massive sun energy. Donna was taken aback by the unexpected shift in circumstances and attempted to teleport behind Kara. She couldn't do it any longer. Kurama had secured the area. Kara fired a tremendous beam into Donna's barrier, taking her along with it.
The remaining portion of the planet was burned, and the moons were split apart by the movement of the beam in order to weaken Donna. Donna died as a result of the intense beam's searing and force, which caused massive burns and fractures.
Donna vomited blood and screamed in agony as her blood was heating and her flesh was adhered to the armor. Her equipment was powerful enough to withstand the onslaught, but Donna was not. After finishing the beam, Kara swooped towards Donna, grabbing her by the face and slamming her into a neighboring planet. Donna was unable to react as her head impacted with the planet, the force fully shattering the globe and causing fractures in her skull.
She seemed to have won the struggle and her body was filling up with energy when Donna's body unleashed a white halo that pushed Kara back and almost froze her.
Donna's eyes shone with white light, forcing everything to freeze. She seemed to have entered a trance, and her power appeared to have risen in strength. Her armor vanished and was replaced by fresh gear. It was a costume made up of items given to her by the Titans of myth, such as a Cronus amulet, a mystic net from Oceanus and Tethys, golden armor forged by the sun itself from Thea and Hyperion, an earring of balance by Themis, a bracelet that used to belong to Phoebe, and a cloth from the starry firmament from Creus and Mnemosyne. Cronus was the king of Titans and had the ability to manipulate time and murder the immortals. The necklace he gave Donna permitted her to speed up or slow down time.
Oceanus was the Titan who represented the seas, and the net he gave Donna was extraordinarily durable, allowing her to catch her adversaries even if they were as large and unstable as the oceans.
Thea and Hyperion were giants who represented the stars. As such, the golden armor they bestowed was crafted from a star. It was extraordinarily hefty and long-lasting. It also enabled Donna to regulate and fight fire to a greater extent, even heading into the sun was conceivable. Donna was able to use the power of balance thanks to Themis, the Titan of law and balance. If things seem to be lopsided on one side, she may use the earrings to balance things out. If her injuries were more than those of her opponent, she could make them equal.
Phoebe was the Titan of the moon, and it was her power that resided mostly inside Donna. Her bracelet granted her mastery over the powers of darkness and ice. Donna always has these skills, but the bracelet enhanced them. Finally, the Titans of memory were Creus and Mnemosyne. The starry clothing generated underneath the armor was highly durable, allowing Donna to recall everything with ease. It even permitted Donna to have too many memories of others.
Donna had gained a greater level of strength with all of her gifts and her Titan abilities leaking out. That may be worse than Hercules. Naruto had not anticipated this.
Donna. Kara inquired before her adversary formed chains of lights that encircled her limbs. Kara had reached huge planet level, yet even her physical strength could not grant her freedom. She was taken aback by the scenario and concerned for Donna since the lady was behaving strangely.
It seems that you are in serious difficulty. I'm going to give you another boost, and it could hurt. Kurama saw the gravity of the situation and decided to assist. He couldn't let Donna get in the way of Naruto's struggle.
Before Kara could respond, she felt a massive surge of energy fill her body. It seemed like the neighboring stars had been drained dry.
Supergirl was gleaming golden, and she snapped the bonds with a single effort. The procedure had been difficult at first since she had never absorbed that much energy before, but it had become manageable after that.
That's it for this podcast. Thanks for listening to this video. I hope you did enjoy this part of the story, and if you did, like, share, and subscribe for more. And thank you all for helping support, and have a great day.